Zoom. The Meam Loez brings 6 reasons why we, Bnei Israel, were subject to exile in Egypt. And we'll talk about the first reason today. And he says, there's a pasuk that God tells Avraham Avinu that his children will go to exile. So God knew this Avraham Avinu knew this way before it ever happened. And he knows it's going to occur. And God tells Avraham Avinu, but don't worry, even though they'll be in exile, they're going to suffer for 400 years. But don't worry, when they leave, when they do get released and freed, they'll make a lot of money. One second, so you're going to kill us for 400 years and then you'll give us a couple of stocks and bonds? Like what? What do you mean? Says the Meam Loez, that doesn't make any sense. What are we going to, you kill thousands or millions of people so we can make a little bit of geld, of pesos, of, you know, what is that? And so, he says, what does it really mean? He says that in order for a Jew to be connected to the Torah, it's a lot of work. Sometimes it's hard for us to do a mitzvah just because we don't study enough Torah, we don't know the halachot, we don't know how to do it. And it's hard for us to get into the habit of trying to figure out what we need to do. Another reason is because some mitzvot are hard. You got to go there, you got to buy something, you got to wake up earlier, you got to go sleep later. You have to. You're allowed to talk this. You're not allowed to say lashon hara. You are allowed to do these things. A new this, a new that, new items, and so it's hard. And our nature, and you know, subconsciously, our brain is trying to protect ourselves. So we naturally, biologically, we have to do everything so we could work the least. And this is exactly opposing to our survival, to work harder and get out of our comfort zone. And so that's another reason why it's hard for us to do more and more mitzvot. So why does Hashem want us to do all these mitzvot? What's all this Torah business about getting and doing all these rituals and taking on more and more commandments? It's so that we can get closer to Him. But the only way that you can get closer to Him is if you condition yourself. It's like when you go boxing or punching, whatever, you have to condition your fists so that they no longer are sensitive to the contact that you're going to have with a punching bag. That's what they say, right? Until you condition them. The same thing is with the body and the soul. It has to be conditioned until we're used to it. Says the Meam Loez, without having gone to Mitzrayim, we never would have been conditioned to the hard labor of being a Jew. He says, just like a chicken lays on eggs, before they formulate to become chicks within the eggs, to be able to hatch, first there's a process of degeneration inside the egg. There's a spoil, there's a rottenness inside the egg, and only after that it goes through a sequence of becoming fertile, and so that it can hatch an egg, a proper chick. Also, when you plant in the ground, you're planting seeds for bread in the ground, wheat, barley. First it goes through a process of decay, only then there's a gradual inclination of growth. And the same thing with Am Yisrael. We had, in order for us to have the growth and the liveliness, the ability to absorb Hashem's commandments, we had to go through that decay. And only after we were in slavery, we were only so happy for Hashem to give us the mitzvot. Anything you give us, we'll take because we know what it's like. And not only that, in order to be compliant with a lot of the mitzvot, sometimes you have to eat matzah. That doesn't taste as nice as French baguette. Sometimes you have to eat things in certain holidays, or sometimes you have to eat less so that you could be awake all night, and so on and so forth. And so, Am Yisrael, when they ate dry bread and barely ate anything for years and years, they're ready to take upon the Ol HaTorah, the yoke of Torah, the ability to contain all these mitzvot by conditioning their bodies, their nature, their psychology, so that they could be ready for it. As the days come by, with Hashem, we'll go on the other reasons of the Meam Loez.